What's up everyone, this is Sonic Fan here, and today, welcome to another discussion. We need to talk, alright? Sit down, take a seat, why don't you? Take a seat. We need to talk about Sonic Superstars. So, a lot of YouTubers and a lot of critics have gotten their hands early on the game. Alright, they've gotten early access to this game. We've been very much anticipating this release. Everything that we've seen has just looked completely promising. The art style looks phenomenal. The stages are all original. They look really fun. All the characters are going to be playable. There's going to be like cool animated cutscenes, bringing back iconic characters like Fang, introducing new ones like Chip. A lot of cool stuff. Like this game has basically looked like perfection. That's all it is. It's looked like perfection. And so, reasonably, a lot of people have assumed that like this game was probably going to reach like new heights that the series hasn't seen since like Mania. Like, how could you really go wrong with this? Well, a lot of YouTubers, a lot of reviewers have gotten their hands on the game early. You know, a lot of critics. And they've beaten it, the entire thing. Have given their full consensus on this, and have given, you know, their ratings out. And they aren't as perfect as we expected. Now, some of the review outlets like TGM, VGC, PSX Brazil, etc., Games Radar, they've given the game like 9 and 8 out of 10s. Like let's just clear that out. A lot of reviewers are saying, "Yo, this game is pretty dope. It's pretty fun. It's pretty good. It's nearly great. It's nearly perfect." On the other side of that, you have reviewers like Gaming Bolt and Push Square who are giving the game a 6 and a 5 out of 10. And you have VG247, another review outlet, that gave it a 3 out of 5. There are some reviewers who are simply calling the game mediocre. The most common rating, which is, you know, a rating that IGN has given it, is basically a 7 out of 10. That's like the most common consensus like that I've been seeing around this game, is that, yeah, it's good. It's just a good Sonic game. Nothing amazing, nothing bad, just good. And so this has the fandom pretty disappointed because expectations were really high for this game. A lot of people were expecting this to basically just be like to succeed Mania, because Mania, despite being an amazing game, wasn't really like as good as it could have been. Like, the reason I say that is because it's basically reusing a lot of iconic stages, and like it doesn't have enough originality to some people. It's still a good game, but it hardly has enough to stand out on its own and like have a separate identity. Like, since, you know, Origins and well, now recently Superstars has come out, a lot of people really haven't gone back to Mania just because, you know, Mania rarely has a lot that sets it apart. It has the identity crisis, basically. Not an intentional one. The devs knew what they were doing. It's just Sega didn't allow them to make a lot of new stages. So you don't really know if that game is supposed to be a compilation of all the series greats, if it's supposed to be, you know, like the next new entry in Classic Sonic. It's just all over the place. So this game had the potential to, you know, succeed that, because it had a single refined vision. It was going to be all original. It was going to have this, like, a lot of the, it had the same goal as Mania, which is basically recreating the classic physics as seamlessly as possible. It was going to, like, easily have a bigger budget, whereas Mania was basically like a glorified fan game. This should have been it. This should have been like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. This should have been perfect, but it's not. And a lot of people are upset, and like it's very interesting. And one thing that I've also noticed, which personally has me a little disappointed. I'll get into like the reviews in a second, how I feel about them. But something that I was kind of expecting but was unsure of, which has basically been confirmed, is this game is not worth $6. It's not worth full price, which is the reasonable assumption. And look, I want to say this, like, just because a game is in a plays in a 2D style and goes for a retro vibe, doesn't automatically mean it's not worth full price. Okay, and what matters is the content within the game. The reason though why I got a bad feeling about a classic Sonic game being full price is because these games are usually super linear. They're usually like super straightforward, and they don't really have that much content. Like, take a game like Mania. Personally, Frontiers is my favorite game out of the series, but a lot of Sonic fans still prefer Mania, which is completely understandable. That game, like, kicks all sorts of ass. Yet, they are completely fine paying $20 for Mania and paying $60 for Frontiers, because while Mania is a great experience, for casuals, they're likely to get around 9 to 12 hours of playtime out of that game, at most. Whereas for Frontiers, you're guaranteed 20 to 50 hours of playtime when you play that game. Like if you're going for everything, probably like upwards to 80. If you're crazy like me, over 100. Okay, that game has a lot to do. Has a bigger budget than Mania does. It has a way larger scale. It warrants that $60. It's rare that I like actually say a Sonic game is like worth its initial price on launch. Forces wasn't worth $40. Team Sonic Racing wasn't worth I'm pretty sure it launched at $40 as well. Frontiers was fully worth $60. That game had a lot of shit to do, and it's one of those things that I just would not recommend a price drop for, because like they earn the $60 that I spent on launch, especially with all the post-content updates. So the Superstars, I was kind of hesitant because I'm like, okay, this is going to be a classic Sonic game. It's probably going to be around like maybe 12 stages, which is confirmed. It's going to be like 12 zones. That's basically 24 levels, which isn't bad, but with how fast Sonic games typically are, how fast you go through acts, that's not too much. That's not a lot. That's only like 3 more zones than I'm pretty sure Mania had. And well, from everyone who I've seen who's gotten early access, they've shared the same sentiment. This game is not better than Mania, and it is not worth $60. And they've recommended, waiting for a price drop, which is very unfortunate. I'm really tired of Sega like overpricing their games. I think $40 would have been literally the perfect price for this. Like $40 would have been completely fine, but like full price, come on guys. Come on. Now, granted, I want to preface this. This is what everyone has been saying on Twitter.com, okay? I haven't played the game myself. There's a good chance I'll play the game like for myself and disagree and say it is worth the $60. Like that's another thing I'm going to get into. That's the next topic. Don't take these reviews at face value, okay? Guys, just play the game yourself. And like, I've been seeing the community really upset about this. I've been seeing people like throwing tantrums and replies on Twitter.com, like just being so upset that like Sonic can't compete against Mario. It can never get perfect scores. Guys, who the fuck cares? Just play the game. If it's good, then it's good and you enjoyed it. Like, I just want to... Okay, so for reference, this game has a higher Metacritic score currently than Sonic Frontiers does. I'm pretty sure Sonic Frontiers is sitting at like 71, which isn't bad, but it's definitely not like amazing. And this game is sitting at 75. And yet, the majority of us have played Frontiers and have literally labeled it as peak fiction. Okay, a lot of us really love Frontiers. That game has a lot of highs that it overshadows the lows, and it's a really fun game. It's a game that, like I said, I do not regret paying full price for. I really enjoy. I've synced hundreds of hours into, and will likely sink hundreds of more hours into, because that game's really fun. And yet, that game, it didn't get a great score from IGN. Like YouTubers like Donkey pretty much slammed it for not being of AAA quality. And its Metacritic score reflects how like mixed people were about Frontiers as a whole, and like that's understandable. But like I said, as a Sonic fan who really enjoys 3D games, who personally really vibed with a lot of the creative decisions made with Frontiers, those reviews don't matter. I don't care what IGN gave it. I don't care what Donkey says. I don't care what the Metacritic score is. I just have a fun game. And to a lot of these like Sonic fans, why do we care about these review scores? Why do we care about what the public eye thinks of this series? Like, I will say that's important to a certain extent, but as long as you personally are enjoying what it's giving you, as long as you personally are enjoying the game and like are offering constructive criticism to Sega going forward, that's really all that matters. It's not the end of the world that this game doesn't have a higher score than Sonic Mania does. It's really not. Like it's just like 7 out of 10 is still. People are saying, guys, just I cannot say this enough. If you're really upset about Superstar's score, just listen to these few words I'm about to tell you. Okay, listen to this one sentence. People are saying it's a good game. Okay, I don't think people are acknowledging this enough. People, like a 7 out of 10, an 8 out of 10 is still pretty good. People are still saying they're liking it. It's just, I haven't seen any reviews. I haven't watched any reviews because I'm trying to go in as blind as humanly possible. But according to according to what I've seen, like just off of Twitter, there are like a few issues in the later stages. There are some pacing issues, and as such, like, it holds the game back a little. It's basically just minor flaws. And like I do agree, it is slightly frustrating how we can never have a Sonic game that's just like purely great. Like there has to be always something, some tiny issue, or issues that's like holding it back from like perfection. And like I agree, that can be annoying, but like it's really not that. It's not that deep. It's not that big of a deal. And there's also the possibility that some of these reviewers like do on okay. How do I phrase this in a way that like I'm not trying to invalidate the reviewer's opinion, because like if you play a game and it doesn't vibe with you, then you have the right to criticize that game for like what it didn't do. However, there have been some like decent arguments saying how like if you're not a Sonic fan and you don't like Sonic's playstyle, then the games really aren't for you. So like how accurately can you judge a game? Great example of this is IGN. Apparently in the review they were saying how the game prioritized too much platforming as opposed to like high action speed. And a lot of people were clowning on them for this is because Sonic has always mainly been about platforming. The speed is a gimmick that, you know, like that exhilarates the gameplay more, but at the same time, like the Sonic has always been mainly platformers. It wasn't until, you know, Boost era games where like they started like basically becoming roller coaster sims as opposed to like genuine really good platformers. Mainly referring to games like Forces, by the way, where like it's just you're not doing anything, it's just holding down square. Like, and look, even like a game like Generations, as much as I love it, those 2D Sonic levels are awesome. They're really fun, and like it does require a skill to like get past some of them, like Planet Wisp Act 2. At the same time, though, there's still roller coasters. Like there's a lot of automation in them, and it's trying to make you feel like you're going fast to basically just like give you that high octane feeling, and it's just, if you think Sonic is all about going fast and not about legitimate platforming, then how fitting are you to criticize a Sonic game when you like mistake the fundamental design of the series? And that's something that people have brought up. Like maybe some of these reviews are simply inaccurate because a lot of people just, you know, Sonic. I say this a lot. Sonic is a really mainstream series. Like a lot of people know about him. Like he's iconic. But at the same time, no one knows shit about him. It's a really interesting dilemma because you have this mainstream character with mainstream games, and yet casual like people who like aren't really like Sonic fans get so many things wrong about like the series like when they start critiquing it. And it's just a niche playstyle that only appeals to certain people. It's not for everyone. But because the series is so mainstream, people act like it's supposed to be for everyone, and so like you have a lot of different ideas as to what Sonic should be, when all you have to do is just look at the past games to come to an easy understanding of like what the series has always been about. So who knows? Maybe some of these reviews are simply just inaccurate. I don't like invalidating people's opinions. I'm just bringing it up as a possibility that hey, even if you like for whatever reason are taking the reviews super seriously and are genuinely really upset to the point where like you might not be buying the game, also take in the heart that like some of these reviewers probably aren't Sonic fans. They probably like this game will probably appeal way more to a Sonic fan than it does an average reviewer. In fact, I haven't seen a single Sonic fan who I follow who's had early access and played this game who I've seen say really too many negative things about it. Games Cage is a great example. He like fucking loves it. Okay, he really likes it. I've seen a lot of other like Sonic tubers who've gotten early access say they really do like it. So what I would recommend doing, if you're still unsure, don't pre-order. Do not pre-order. If you have it pre-ordered, it's really close to release date. Like maybe cancel. Who knows? Like if you're really genuinely having second thoughts and like there's a game come and like guys, this is the month of October, alright? We got Marvel Spider-Man 2, we got Mario Wonder, we have all these crazy games coming out. So I would not blame you if you cancel your pre-order and save your money for one of those other titles. So what I would recommend doing is, if you're genuinely worried, save your money. Save your money, cancel the pre-order, but don't spend it yet. Wait until the 17th, or better yet, you can already watch reviews right now and try to nail down specifically what people have a problem with the game for, okay? Don't just look at the number rating. Like, number ratings are like the stupidest thing ever. They do not matter. It's such a trivial way of like summing up the quality of a game. Don't just look at the number ratings. Actually watch reviews. Actually find out like what people have a problem with and judge for yourself whether or not that's gonna be an issue that like ruins the game for you. Like if someone says the physics are fucked, they're not great, or like the level design is garbage on the second half of the game, then that's a pretty big issue. So like be like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna wait for a price drop. I don't need to play this automatically. I'm gonna buy something else. Let me buy Spider-Man. Boom, done. Or if you watch the review and they say, hey, this multiplayer is absolute garbage. This multiplayer sucks. But the main game is perfect. You'd be like, well, I wasn't going to play the multiplayer anyways, so who cares? And then you play the main game and you love it. So then you actually buy the game and like get your money's worth. So that's what I would recommend. Just don't look at the number ratings. It's just that simple. Just don't look at the number ratings. But anyways, that's all my overall thoughts. I just want to give my Just give my thoughts on this real quick. I've noticed it was a really interesting issue that had a lot of people upset. But yeah. Anyways, what do you guys think of all of this? Are you still really excited for the game? Did these reviews get you down? Let me know in the comments because I'm genuinely interested in like what you guys have to say. But anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, then please like, subscribe. We're gonna be playing through the game when it comes out, alright? Because I'm a YouTuber, so I'm obligated to buy the game regardless of like how I feel about it, alright? So I will be playing the entire game on the 17th. I have a review out. We're going to talk in depth about this when the game fully comes out. I'm really excited for it. The views, I personally don't care about the reviews because like there's a lot of stuff that I love that like just gets panned critically. So at this point, it's another Sunday for me. There's a lot of stuff that I really love. A lot of movies in general that like people just don't vibe with. So like I've learned to just like drown out public opinion a while ago. But yeah, anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out.